Hello, everybody, and for a change, we are finally talking about a completely different game compared to Gran Turismo Sport. I recently bought the WRC 8 for PlayStation 4 and have been pretty addicted to the gameplay recently. I suppose I've been at home for about a week and a half now and have barely touched Gran Turismo except to make some videos. So I wanted to give this game a go, and then I just find myself going back to it more and more often. There are things that I like about it, there's things I don't really like about it, so I thought I'd give it a little review. So I've mostly found this game addictive primarily because of their stage design, which I think is really well done. Probably the best rally game that I've played so far, which in terms of stage design, I remember all the way back in the PlayStation 1 days playing, I think it was Colin McRae Rally with a remote, and I remember that we had automatic braking switched on, and we didn't realize this, so we couldn't understand why the game was slowing us down when we wanted to go flat out. But in the end of the day, we finally figured it out. So 13-year-old Dave could finally do a little bit of rallying. And since then, obviously, like any motorsport fan, I've been highly addicted to WRC on TV and been watching the guys. Sebastian Loeb is still one of my driving heroes. I think rally drivers are the most talented car drivers in the world. That being said, I'm definitely not a good rally driver. I have done some kilometers in a rally car. I think it was a WRC Ford Fiesta, the WRC 2 car, sorry, not the main ones. I did it in South Africa. A friend of mine was kind enough to give me some, not laps, but some kilometers in the car, and I was blown away by the handling, the grip, the ability to go over bumps as if it was a smooth surface. It was just so impressive. However, unfortunately, in this game, I don't get that same experience. The reason I keep coming back to the game is because of the stages. I love the sort of the mixing and matching of awesome corners. I do believe that some of these stages are from real life. Um, I'm not sure how much of it is fantasy. I assume not that much. However, I have realized that the longer version of these stages are connections of the short versions. So it could be that they've taken the best stages from each rally and put them in. Um, but anyway, regardless of that, I think their stage design is awesome. But there are some things that sort of have been getting on my nerves a little bit. The first thing is sometimes the pace notes are called a little bit late. I tried to play with the timing of the notes, and this is quite cool because I don't remember how recently they've allowed you to do that. But I remember very like back in the day when I was playing games more often. It was often that the pace notes were either called too early or called too late, and you had no way of adjusting that. But in WRC 8, you can bring the notes forward or back, depending on what you prefer. I just haven't found the timing quite right. There's a couple of stages where I'll be going through some flat-out kinks or very high-speed grade 5 kinks, if you will, and then all of a sudden it says, "Oh, hairpin right," and it's just way too late. So the only way I wouldn't crash is if I knew the stage beforehand. And I suppose that's one of the things with rallying in the games, that you have a million restarts, so you can really start to perfect and learn the courses offhand or off by heart. And I suppose that takes away an element of the experience of rallying. So the first few days that you have the game are probably going to be the most authentic when you play it, because you don't know the stages off by heart. That being said, I've done about a million restarts and finished the stage maybe 1 in 20 times that I've played the game, because I keep ending up falling down a hill or in a ditch somewhere. And to me, one of the main reasons that I've been experiencing that is related to the steering. So I adjusted the steering by turning down the actual steering saturation. Thank you to those of you on Twitter who gave me this recommendation. I turned it down from 100 to 50. And then also turned down the force effects. Overall force, tire load, those kinds of things, self-centering, I turned those down, and then turned up the vibration effects. And this seemed to me to get much closer to what I was expecting. I still am not entirely happy with the steering ratio, and if you watch the hands of the onboard camera, you'll see that the graphical hands that you see there, they barely turn on the wheel. Whereas if you watch the cars in real life, there is much more steering input that's going on. And even with the actual steering wheel itself in my hands, it feels too much like the input of a cart. compared to what you'd expect from a rally car and what I've experienced when I drove a rally car a couple of years ago. So in that point, I couldn't quite get the ratio right, and this is the one element of frustration for me. But it just took some time to get that feeling right, and sort of adjust my sense of timing and everything to the game, where I actually really started to enjoy it. But if I did have the choice, I would like to work on it more, and probably will in the future. But again, the ratio, it just didn't seem to gel with me enough where I could leave it. I could adjust it once and then leave it. I kept going back to it, and then eventually sort of landed up around the default settings. But that was the one main criticism I had of the game. The other one was that the sound effects, all the cars sound the same, and also when you hit something, it sounds the same as well. So if you hit a wall like I just hit there, or if you hit a rock, or if you hit a pole, it all sounds like you are literally murdering your car and never gonna recover from that kind of damage. So I wish there was a little bit more of a differentiator around that feeling. All that being said, though, the sort of thrill of driving through these stages flat out and trying to get the timing right with your steering, and trying to get the back end right around hairpins and high speed corners, really is a lot of fun. So I highly recommend anyone who's a rally fan to play this game, just for the stages. Again, I mean, the amount of fun that I was having trying to learn these stages, and I'm sure because it is a game, we have that advantage of going back to them and perfecting them. But once you do get them right, man, the fun that I was having was crazy. I have not yet tried to do any of this online, and I haven't yet done career mode. I'm hoping to do a career mode live stream where you start at the bottom. I have watched the career mode of Jimmy Broadbent. He's done some pretty awesome videos on this game, and the career mode looks a lot of fun. And it's cool when you can start from the bottom. When they fall, you're not immediately able to jump into a top of the line WRC car. You have to build your way up, and you can add elements to improve the team as well. So they've really thought about that, and I think that's where you're going to get your most value, because when you do play in online mode, you're going to be playing against guys who are perfectionists and who know the rally stages off by heart, and to me that's a little bit inauthentic from what rallying is. I mean, the real rally drivers, they do spend a week wrecking all the stages, but they will still admit that to this day they don't remember every single corner on every single stage. It's just not possible. So I prefer that sort of fresh feeling where you're not completely at one with the circuits. Sorry, not the circuits, the stages, and that will just bring out much more enjoyment. Overall, though, I would say that this game is a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. A lot of fun, semi-realistic, not as realistic as I would have liked, and I still think that that's related to just the responsiveness of the cars, both on gravel and on asphalt. But still a lot of fun, and the enjoyment that I've been getting out of it was way more than I expected. I thought I'd play this game once or twice and then go back to my regulars. So now these days I'm having to find time to play WRC 8, obviously do my regular simulating in Gran Turismo, and then soon my PC will arrive, which will mean that I have to also fit in Assetto Corsa and iRacing. Very lucky to be in this position. And I hope to be bringing you proper reviews or opinions on those games soon. I mean, this kind of video is not a review, it's just me sharing my opinion and elements of the games that I enjoy and parts that I don't very much enjoy. But overall, I definitely would rate WRC 8 as a buy. And also to the eagle-eyed viewers, you'll see that in some of these clips I'm using a different kind of wheel. This is the Thrustmaster Sparco wheel, which I highly recommend. To those of you who want to feel like you're holding a real GT wheel in your hand, this is the best one. It actually reminds me a lot of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo that I raced in 2015, because they had exactly the same wheel design, so it feels pretty authentic. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, something different, and until next time, I'll catch you around the next lap. Cheers.